because right now we've shifted BR&E, this retention expansion, has kind of shifted into a very high #1 priority for our organization. It is a very important part of, it's hard to grow if you're losing the base job, so you got to be able to have that. And our focus has always been on economic-based jobs because they're the multiplier for all other types of jobs that happen in a community, whether it's service industry, public works, all those different types of things. It all stems from that initial piece. And as we are looking towards not only what happens right here in the city of Gallup, which is a very important part of this McKinney County, but many of our tax base major industrial partners are obviously out in the county. And so that's why we're the greater Gallup economic development, because we know that what feeds Gallup's opportunity is very important in some partnerships and cross-jurisdictional issues that are there, that are sometimes hard to manage, but we're grateful to be trying to be on that forefront to make the change. And honestly, there's some cultural change, and I'm not talking about ethnic culture. There is cultural change in our area to have a mindset that is on focus with what these basic economic jobs do. Many of us that have grown up here, like I have, took for granted all the things that were already here. And then slowly by slowly, some of these things changed. The coal industry changed, the energy sector changes, always that things change. And all of a sudden, what we thought was always going to be there is not. And so understanding, being flexible and adjusting to new technologies and new opportunities is a very important part of that too. So Mark talked about the social aspect of what this is. Many people have heard me say this many times. I repeat it every time I get a chance to get a microphone in economic development, is that the greatest social program in the world is a job. If people can have a job, they grow out of poverty, they grow out of many of the other conditions and difficulties that contribute to difficulties that poverty always brings. And so not only for me is this a dollars and cents equation, it's a human element to it that is very important to me, to my family. I raised my family in this community, and I want to be able to have an opportunity that if they choose, they can come and live here and work as well. And as they are off in college now and all those types of things, we want to make sure that opportunity is for them so that they can be able to have what they had in this wonderful community that I raised them in. So for now, I'm going to turn some time over to Patty, who's going to talk about this BR&E program that we have. After Patty's done, we'll turn the time over to Kent Wilson for a special presentation and a word for McKinley paper. And we'll go to that point. Go ahead, Patty.
Well, thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Tommy, and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to GGEDC's annual BR&E Luncheon. Isn't it wonderful that we can all get together? Unfortunately, it's still this COVID practice stuff that we have to follow, so we can't sit very close together. We don't necessarily have a hot lunch where we can have somebody serve us, but I think this works out. Because what it tells me is we've got light at the end of the tunnel here. We were in bad shape last year at this time when we were thinking about what is economic development actually going to do and how is economic development going to perform and how do we deal with all of our economic-based employers in McKinley County. And I can say that that's who we have in the room here today, and I'm really proud of that. I think it's kind of important. We didn't get a chance to introduce ourselves, so I get to introduce you and who you are. And Mark came up, and of course he represents Rhino Health. That is a manufacturing company for nitrile gloves. We also have Gallup Lamb Partners. We have Jay Bracken and Marty O'Malley. Raise your hand because not everybody knows you. We've been working with Gallup Lamb Partners for many years. They've got the transloading site, and now they've got a new, very important piece of infrastructure out there to help in recruitment of economic-based industry. So we're glad that Gal Glenn Partners are here. We also have Marathon, Brad Schaefer and Leland Gould. Wave your hand so they know who you are. You know, Marathon, and before Marathon was Western and Endeavor and all those those companies, right, Leland? And Giant. And we've been working together for a long time. Major presence in McKinley County, and we're hoping to be able to redevelop that presence. So we're very happy that you all are here today. I think it's also important, we're going to recognize the honorees in just a minute, but I also want to recognize another important player in this region, and it reminds me of my favorite song, and that's by the Eagles, The New Kid in Town, and that is Wiley Rhodes. Wiley, please stand up. Wiley is with EH2, and that's the company looking at purchasing the Escalante power plant. So it's a big deal for us to have Wiley here today, and he said he cleared his calendar so he could be part of our BR&E luncheon, and I'm sure glad that you did. You're always welcome, and anything we can do, you know we're there for you. So thank you very much, Wiley, for being here today. So in our mission statement, we're all about recruitment, attraction, and expansion of economic-based employers. That's who we are. We've got a lot of our partners in the room here today that do other kinds of things, whether it's strategic and comprehensive planning, or direct business assistance, or what have you, working directly with retail. And we all work together, which is amazing for a community. You don't have the catfighting, so to speak, like you find in other communities. But this community does tend to work together. We all have our piece of work, and we all respect that among one another. So it's important that our other partners are here today also. I just want to make a couple comments about business retention and expansion. That is our number one piece of work for GGEDC. What we look at is working with those that are already here, because that's a heck of a lot easier than trying to bring somebody from the outside into the community, as both Mark Roper and Alicia Keys. It's a lot easier to work with those people because they're already committed to the community. When I talk to people like Gallup Land Partners or Rhino or any of these others, I don't have to sell them on Gallup because they know Gallup as well as I do. And they know the people, they know the tax structure, they know the labor force, they know the cost of doing business here. So I don't have to talk about those kinds of matrix. But I can tell you that it is, as Tommy mentioned, our economic-based employers are by far the most important because that's where the multiplier is. And we've done a lot of analysis on that. I mean, our organization is data-driven. That's what Mike and Bruce do. They're able to talk to companies about why it's important to invest here. Nobody puts hundreds of millions of dollars into any community without information, without data, without proof that you can do a good business here. So we're just happy that we've now restructured a little bit inside of EDC. We're focused on BR&E because that's where 80% of the job growth comes, is with who you've already got. And that's what our focus is job growth within our existing industries. So when we have our honoree come up today, it's because that was the industry that particularly, I want to give Mike Sage particular credit for this, his work with Mark Roper in working with McKinley Paper, and how cooperative the Economic Development Department was. I need to put a plug in for them also. These people are some of the most dedicated public servants you're going to find anywhere. I know when I met Secretary Keys the first time, I was very impressed with her willingness just to jump in there and start getting the job done. And I can say that with the highest level of respect. All of you know I wear another hat in this world. Not only am I the Economic Development Director, I'm also a state legislator. So in that capacity, I get to see who's actually out there doing the work and who's actually doing the talking. And in this case, with this small agency, they're doing the work. So I want to thank them for being here today. They're our state partner. We've got lots of our local partners in the room here, and most importantly, we have our economic-based employers that make the economy cook in McKinley County. Without those base employers, we got no economy. And I can talk about that all day, and our board talks about it all the time. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I think I'll go ahead and let others speak. I know Kent's got a nice award recognition for our honoree, and I'll let you do that, Kent, and I'll step aside. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty and Tommy. When we talk about business retention and expansion, and after what we have gotten to experience, it wasn't something we learned in management classes anytime in my educational career. I don't know about yours, but it was interesting this year to try to manage our businesses, transportation side of business, as well as our daily employees, when it seemed like so much of our management effort was diluted and redirected toward just surviving. So maybe it was a year of business management, retention, expansion, and surviving. Pretty hard to expand when we were just not even knowing how many employees we were going to have on a given day. But we seem to have gotten through that, and our emphasis continues to be on trying to expand business in McKinley County. And as you heard, our honoree for this year, McKinley Paper, we have a representative here for, please come up and yes, sir. This reads Greater Gallup. With our greatest appreciation, we hereby honor McKinley Paper Company appreciation for outstanding direction, leadership, and service. With gratitude from the people of Gallup McKinley County, resilience in business during COVID-19, May 11, 2021.
To speak because people can barely hear me with my accent without it. Anyway, yeah, on behalf of BioPapel, our parent company, and McKinley, I want to say thank you for everybody's support. As you know, we have our US-based division carries the name of this county. This is where we began when from being just a company in Mexico, we decided to make investments into the United States. We wanted to play the opposite, versus Americans investing in Mexico. We wanted to do the same and give the same opportunities, jobs, manufacturing to the communities, to our border states in Mexico. So when we acquired the company from Australia, Australian company that started this off, they had already named McKinley Paper, and we loved the name. It sounded good. It was the name of the county, so it gave us a lot of local pride. And throughout the years, we've been definitely ups and downs. What started off with a really small operation in Mexico, now we have manufacturing operations coast to coast. We go east as far as West Georgia and Indianapolis, Indiana, and as far west as California and Washington. By far, don't tell the other state, but New Mexico is the easiest ones to do business with. But we have way more growth, way more opportunities to keep doing business. So again, appreciate everybody's help on all the support in the business. The LIDA grant definitely was very helpful. In a very difficult year for us, more than COVID, it was tri-state decision to shut down changes completely. We had to do a lot of stuff to keep in business, and again, thanks to your help, we were able not only to continue doing business, but also to continue expansion progress. So I know some of you guys are joining us on a tour later on, and for those of you that can, feel free to reach out to me, and I'd love to have you guys around anytime, and I'd love to show you around. But, again, thank you for the work. This is very nice. Our CEO will definitely love it, and again, on behalf of the company and our family, I appreciate it.
I think this is very indicative of what we try to honor with this dinner and having McKinley Paper, and thank you for coming today and being so open with working with us and helping you remain in our county. And it would have been a very easy thing to just hold up and go away when Escalante had to shut down, and we've had to idle the petroleum plant and other things like that. And so we felt like there was a lot of bleeding going on in the economic base of our county. And now to be able to say that, okay, not only are we keeping, but they want to expand, and now we have Wiley here to hopefully continue that expansion and recover back. This is a huge thing, and I know the secretary understands that as well, and what she's done. Let me do a brief introduction of our guest here. This is just from the economic website. So this one's Heather.
Don't worry.
Do you want some other details that we can add there? We can do that later. So we can do it. She's not playing the piano. She told us already. So.
Oh, goodness.
So Alicia Keys was previously the film liaison for the city of Albuquerque, in a role which she initiated and oversaw. Now listen to this: $1 billion agreement with Netflix to establish a landmark studio. If that is not economic development growth or whatever, then I don't know what is. So I think that put her on the map to say, hey, she knows how to recruit business to the state of New Mexico and sell to Mexico well. So I think that was a huge step to understanding this. She established a workforce training program with both the University of New Mexico and CNM Community College, and was responsible for all the film permitting and recruiting. Since 2005, Keys has been the chief executive officer and producer at AJK Films, and which she has developed, written, and optioned original content for film and television while maintaining relationship with distributors, studios, and agents. Beginning in 1998, she was the executive director for worldwide acquisitions for Walt Disney Company, where she was responsible for the acquisition of theatrical motion pictures for distribution, including select and international rights for films under the Buena Vista International banner. She has a bachelor's in economics, politics, and philosophy degree from Claremont McKenna College in Claremont, California. What an exciting thing to have our secretary here with us. As you can tell, she comes from a very diverse background with a lot of opportunity to do that. And so with me, will you please give a warm welcome to our guest speaker.
I'm going to try to be really shouty through my mask, but if you don't, if you can't hear me, let me know. Are we good with the video presentation yet? So you're just going to hear me do a little comedy act for a while until we get this going. If it doesn't get going, then we'll just move the computer up here and I can just do it verbally. But, so yes, I am a film executive. That is my background. The governor was originally interviewing me for the director of the film office, and funny story, which shall not be, I hope there's no press in here. But she said, oh, you are press. Okay, don't put this part in. This is off the record. So I said, well, I had never been involved in politics or government or anything like that. And I had done the Netflix deal, and this is the backstory behind it. I had gotten divorced. My children had just gone to college. So I was sitting in my house alone, writing movies and trying to get them made, which is a very depressing thing to do. And so the mayor of Albuquerque, Tim Keller, and I went to school together, and we knew each other from growing up. I was actually a lifeguard at the beach water park, and he was just a tube shack boy. And I like to remind him of that dynamic because I did used to yell at him all the time to not run. But he approached me and said, the directorship of the film office is coming out, would you like it? And I'm like, yeah, sure, I need to get out of the house. You know, I don't really know that many people here. My kids are gone. And so I started, and Albuquerque Studios was sitting kind of like half empty. And I said, well, what's going on there? And they said, well, it's kind of up for sale. It's kind of not up for sale. Production's kind of happening. It's not happening. And I said, well, that's our hugest asset. So I called a friend at Netflix and I said, why don't you buy it? And they said, yeah, that's a good idea. Actually, why don't we buy it? And they said, we need a few things to happen. And one of those things was a personnel thing, which actually 2 days later, that person quit. And so I was able to call Netflix and say, I just solved that issue for you. And then they said that they wanted state and city support. So we were able to put that deal together, and it was $1 billion and 1,000 people. And they took over Albuquerque Studios and paid quite a bit of money for it. And it was fantastic. And about a year ago, Ted Sarandos called and said, I really want to speak to the governor because we want to double down. We actually want Albuquerque to be our production hub in the United States because they have a facility in Los Angeles, but it doesn't have stages. And stage space is at a premium right now. So they're going to build 10 stages, a training facility, post-production, really take over that mesa. And so Albuquerque, I think in that specific area, Mesa del Sol, is going to look very good. So anyway, so the story I talked to, I'm with the governor, and she's interviewing me, and I said, well, you know, who do I report to? And she was like, well, that would be the Cabinet Secretary of Economic Development. And I said, well, that person I hope isn't a jackass. And at that point, she looked at me and she was like, maybe you should have that job. And so that's how the whole conversation started. And it's been a learning experience. It's been fantastic to meet people like Representative Lundstrom, who have so much experience, and to have Mark Roper on my team, who has been with the division almost 10 years now, and just has a wealth of experience. And I learn every single day. And it's still so exciting for me. And I met with Wiley earlier today, and he said this expression, which I've never, ever heard before, but it's perfect about me too. He's like, I'm a hunting dog, and I just hop in the back of the truck and I'm ready to go. And like, that is also who I am. I am just always just get in the back of the truck and I'm ready to go and I'm ready to learn. So it's been fantastic. So thank you. Thank you for all the help. Thank you for everybody who has really supported us in economic development and supported me and helped me to really learn how we need to herd the cats and how we all need to sing from the same song sheet and how we all need to collaborate. And that's really what our department is about. And we have some fantastic people who work with us, who are experts in their industry. So I really do feel like that I'm a cheerleader, and I really help them be their best selves, bring whatever they can to the job, and also to New Mexicans. So, Mark, how are we doing on that?
Sorry, we're having this entire system was just installed and has
Don't
5
worry.
hours of
Don't worry.
installation to go. So we need to reboot a portion of it, and of course the keys don't work today.
Well, so we don't have to have the visuals. I can do it just on the fly.
I would say, let's not keep an audience waiting.
Okay.
Thank
So,
you.
Mark, do you mind coming up here? And so then I can look at the presentation while we're giving it. And then I can talk to you about the fabulous slides that we have. So Mark, as I said, has been with us for a few cabinet secretaries. I think I'm your favorite, right? And here, let me get your chair. And so he runs the Economic Development Division, which is the biggest division within EDD. So he's really deeply involved in every single project that we do. And we're here. I'm going to wait because a lot of my, I'm going to key off a lot of these slides. So one of the reasons that we're here, obviously, is to tour McKinley Paper, to talk to Mark Lee about Rhino, who has been a fantastic partner for us, and we can't wait to get things going even more. And also to meet with Wiley about Escalante. We are always available. Mark and I are really just like road warriors together.
We're bringing in another projector for you guys too.
Okay, hold on. Let's see what we're going to do here. Oh, because we've got to get it also online.
Yes, we are online.
Okay.
So
Is everyone seeing my belly or are they seeing my face? Hopefully my face. Okay. Okay, here we go. If you'll scroll up just a little bit, Mark. This is like COVID times 100. Okay, so really quickly, McKinley paper, I'm not telling you guys anything that you don't know. Fantastic. We were able to save 135 jobs. And oftentimes what we do in the State Economic Development Department is y'all do all the hard work in the local areas, and then we come in and we get to kind of add the glitter on the top and come in with LEDA financing. So this is a real win for this area. It's $13 million in payroll. It's a 10-year economic impact of $120 million. And these employees are already getting trained with our JTIP program, which is really one of our most loved programs. And thank you so much to Representative Lundstrom on working on this, on getting the appropriation, on putting together LEDA and working with Mark. So thank you so much. In terms of Escalante, this is going to be a fantastic partnership. This is in line with everything that the governor has wanted to focus on. The facility will include research and development, 150 permanent jobs, 300 construction jobs, and like we said before, it's becoming a hydrogen generation facility, which is I'm learning it right now, but I really feel like it is the wave of the future. So our next slide, which you can't see, was a lot of the stuff that we did within the legislative session. So let me just highlight a few of those things for our department. We received $30 million in LEDA, which is our closing fund, which helps us bring companies here, but also expand local companies. We received $12 million for JTIP, our workforce training program. In terms of Main Street, which you guys have a fantastic Main Street, and it's going to look incredible once all that's done. We got capital outlay of $2.5 million. For our LEADS program, we got $200,000. So we also have outdoor recreation in our department, which I'm going to talk a little bit about in a second. But they got $172,000 for the outdoor equity fund. Applications are available right now for that. And then also the New Mexico Trails program received $797,000. We also passed legislation, which was HB 11. And through this whole COVID pandemic, we've been hearing from local businesses that they were really having a hard time paying their rent. So this is a program which is going to help people with rent, lease, mortgage payments. And that actually should be online in the next few days. So look for the press releases on that. And that's $200 million. And thank you to the legislature for helping us get that. We also then went into a special session and passed something which was called the GRT sharing legislation. And this makes our state a lot more competitive for like the bigger recruiting of companies like Facebook. And what it does is it's a law that allows for partial GRT rebate for projects that exceed $350 million in construction. That's a lot. So there's no more than 50% is recaptured, and the participating entity also, and the government, the local government needs to agree with the state that everyone's going to do that. So like I mentioned, Facebook had this program that we did in Los Lunas. And that's what gave Mark Roper the idea to put this legislation together. But we also just did the Intel deal, which I'm going to talk about in a second. But that was 700 jobs out in Rio Rancho, and we'll be using that GRT legislation. So with the Facebook deal, it's fascinating. And I think Mark is going to do kind of an interim legislative session about it and talking about it because of Los Lunas and the size of Los Lunas. We're really able to see the economic impact of that deal. And it's expected, the state of New Mexico is expected to receive $75 million in GRT revenue off that deal over the next 10 years. Okay, we might be in business. So then you don't have to just stare at me, you can stare at the screen. Also, we were talking about it a little bit earlier on, but Secretary Kenny, who runs the Environment Department, we work hand in hand with him. He's actually my neighbor. So we also make bread together and walk our dogs. We tried to pass the Clean Fuel Standard Act this past legislative session. And this establishes a market-based approach and cuts greenhouse gases from transportation fuels. So a lot of people think that this is an environment bill, but it's actually an economic development bill because it gives us another tool to attract those companies like Wiley's here to Escalante. And we will get this passed, I promise you. The governor is very supportive, and I'm really hoping she puts it on the call in January. And if she doesn't, I'm going to quit. When you think about companies, oh my God, it works. Hold on, let's get all caught up because it's much more exciting with slides. When you think about companies like Honda or Boeing or BMW, they're all going toward clean fuel technology. GM just announced that they are going to be carbon neutral by 2040. So the fact that Wiley is here in this community, this is a game changer. And we will get that legislation passed for you, I promise. It's really just going to change really the scope of New Mexico and how some of these workers from the coal-fired plants are going to transition over. So we're really super excited. Okay, Mark, do we have control yet? Ish. Let's go to the toolbox. Well, I think we're, yeah, not yet. Keep on going. There we go. Go back. Go back, go back, go back. Okay, yeah, I think this is it. Okay, oh, perfect. Yay. Here I come so I can see. Now I'm going to try not to flip. Okay. So this is the EDD toolbox. We have JTIP, which is a really fantastic program, which helps train employees. We have LIDA, we have Fund It, we have the Collateral Assistance Program and the Small Business Finance Finder. We also have international trade in our office. We have the Office of Science and Technology. We have Film and Television in EDD. We have Main Street. We have Outdoor Recreation. We have Outdoor Recreation Division. So as you can see, I think it's pretty much, we get all of the divisions that they're creating, and that's been the recent trend. But no, they all do tie in together. And let's go on to the next slide. So this is Lorraine Ruggles, who used to be at Workforce Development for years, and she is now your regional rep. She was hired the week before COVID happened, and so everything has been really quite locked down. But she's going to be getting back out into the community. So please reach out to Lorraine. She's going to be working on all the deals that we do here. Let's go on the next slide. This is Max Gruner, and he's actually the Albuquerque rep, but he also just took over as the tribal liaison for our division. So Max recently returned to New Mexico. He joined EDD as a regional rep, and he spent 10 years in Alaska and Boston. He's worked directly with tribal councils and with Native Alaskan families. His wife is actually Native. And so he's really looking forward to his responsibilities, and he'll be traveling out here. Also, Patty, this is, he speaks fluent German. So our philosophy, let's go ahead onto that for, oh no, you know what, let's talk about this really quickly. So these are some of the COVID relief programs that we put together. Just before, even before the federal incentives were created, the state got approval from the governor to put together a LIDA loan program and also a loan guarantee program for businesses. So all in all, with the state programs that we put together during COVID, it was over $260 million in assistance. And federally speaking, it was $3.6 billion that went to New Mexico companies, which I think is fascinating. So our mission at Economic Development is to improve the lives of New Mexico families by creating economic opportunities and providing a place for businesses to thrive. None of us are political appointees. As you can tell from my story, we're all very passionate about what we do. We're all very passionate about helping people put bread on the table. Also, not having to do that New Mexico hustle of multiple jobs, being able to get paid well, get benefits, and really feel part of the community. So all the businesses we work with, we also talk to them about community development, about training, about what they can do to be part of the community, and we put those in our agreements with those companies. So our philosophy includes investing in innovative companies of the future and providing jobs that pay well. And so we were out to dinner with Mark last night, and one other trend that we're really seeing here is the people that want to be here, the companies that are coming here, people like Wiley also, you're pioneers. You want to do things differently. You don't necessarily want to be in LA and New York. And, you know, you value people, you value quality of life. And so that's what we're finding, the companies that really work here well, they're in that space. Okay, so a little bit about, we're going to go a little bit to business retention and expansion. And so that's really the key focus of our regional rep team, is working with existing businesses like Representative Luncheon was talking about, and also local economic development organizations in order to help businesses that are already here expand and to bring businesses into our community. So recently, I'm just going to go through a few of the deals that we did. You guys feel free to ask any questions. This is super informal. But on May 3rd, we announced that Intel is investing $3.5 billion to create a domestic hub for advanced semiconductor manufacturing. So this is the largest private investment in New Mexico. We will be using the GRT share on this deal. The expansion is going to create 700 permanent jobs at Intel, which is almost a 40% increase in the amount of workforce that's there right now. It means 1,000 construction jobs and over 3,000 other jobs for suppliers. Our LEDA commitment was $5 million. This is the first LEDA project under GRT, like I said. So it's going to generate roughly $14 million in GRT revenue sharing. And under the new law, the local government has to agree to the project. So Sandoval County has been front and center on supporting this with the state. So we're really grateful to the commitment that New Mexico has made, and also that community in workforce. So another deal that we did was super interesting, and it was a scientist who came out of Los Alamos Labs, and he has a new way to incubate vaccines. So this is a group that's going to move into Rio Rancho. It's 116 STEM jobs with an average salary of over $74,000, which is fantastic. An economic impact of 327.8, and their private investment is 26.9. We also did a LEDA investment for this for $5 million. Los Poblanos, so this is a farm in Albuquerque, and they work with 36 different farmers around New Mexico to provide for them. And they not only, they manufacture salsa, they manufacture salts, lavender, all that kind of good stuff. So that's just 24 new jobs, but it's fantastic. Private investment of 2.3, and our LEDA, I can't remember what that was, but it's just one of our, there we go, 250,000. It's just one of our 4 food processing companies that we have been focusing on. Bueno Foods is another one. They started in New Mexico in 1940. So it's 49 new jobs with an average salary of $37,000 with an economic impact of 1.6. That should be million, I think. Is it billion? Wow. Okay. And a LEDA investment of 500,000. So very excited about them. And then this is Built with Robots, which is another locally grown company, and they're expanding with a projected 10-year economic impact of 400 million. And these are being used in the Albuquerque Sunport now to clean the Sunport for COVID. And so we're really hoping that they can get those out in a lot of different places. This is an interesting company. As some of you know, we have a spaceport down in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. That was initially approved by Bill Richardson. It's been there, I think, now for like 16 or 17 years. And Virgin Galactic is our primary resident there, and we're hoping that they're going to be doing space tourist flights. They had their call yesterday, their investor call yesterday. We're expecting soon for them to announce when their next flight is. And then I think they would have 2 more flights, and then it would be Ransom's flight up. So in addition to, Spin Launch moved in to the spaceport, and they are building a catapult that actually takes rockets into lower Earth orbit with like a quarter of the fuel that typically would be used. So this is 59 new jobs with an average salary of $173,000. economic impact of 526.5 million. They brought private investment of 45 million. I was just down there because I'm also the chair of the spaceport. And this catapult that they have made out of steel is like something out of a movie. I mean, I've never seen anything quite like it. And if it works, it will change really space and lower Earth orbit and satellites. So excited about them. Affordable Solar is a homegrown success story also. So they were awarded the contract to build the panels for the P&M solar farm, which provides all the energy to the Facebook data center. And they're going to be expanding. They're doing super, super well. 70 new jobs, average salary of 64,000, economic impact of 2.7 billion. Okay, we can just keep on going and going. As you can see, it's been super busy at economic development, not only for helping the companies get through COVID, but it seems to be that the silver lining is that people want to be here. Companies want to be here. They don't necessarily want to be in the big cities as much anymore. So we're seeing a lot of movement from San Francisco, LA, New York, and it's just going to keep on going. Mark and I were in the car the other day, and it's like we're both so damn tired, but it's like we just don't have the energy, we just don't have the ability to stop right now because we feel like we have this amazing moment from New Mexico, and so we need to keep on going. One thing that happened this year is we applied for a grant from EDA to do a strategic plan. So, which hasn't been done in New Mexico in ages. So it's $1.5 million that is coming here and is going to both create a short-term and long-term action plan for New Mexico. So it's a 5-year strategy that's going to be focused on recovery of the economy. But then there's a 20-year strategy, which will address diversification, the state economy, and reducing our dependence on oil and gas. So right now, New Mexico is still the state most reliant on federal subsidies. So just a little bit about this plan, and there's these slides are packed, so kind of read them while you're listening to me. But we're going to be doing 8 categories of data that are going to be assembled and used in our strategies and goal setting. So the collection of data will be assembled at the state level and for each COG region. We're also going to be having surveys. So there's a survey effort in order to hear firsthand from the business community, as well as education institutions and economic development organizations, governments, and nonprofits. We're also going to do an economic assessment across multiple topics that will compare New Mexico's performance to the other peer states. And then, of course, we'll be doing a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for each of our 9 target sectors, which I'll go into in a second. We're going to do some asset mapping at the state and the regional level. And here is our timeline. And so we plan to wrap this up around September 7th. And then we'll hit the road and start talking about what we found. On this next slide, you'll see your Gallup stakeholders. So we have a really great representation of participants from Gallup. So thank you all for taking the time to contribute. We were just talking before about it. And really, you can follow the planning process on our website. We're using a local company called RS21 to do our asset mapping. We're using another consulting firm that we RFP'd it out, and they're out of DC. So we hope that this is really going to provide some insight that we haven't seen before. Okay, I'm almost done. I just wanted to talk really quickly about, let's go forward, Mark, yeah. Our key industry sectors. So these are the sectors that Governor Lujan Grisham chose early on during her campaign that fit with our goals, our culture, our assets, our resources. They pay well. You know, we haven't really been, one of the things that we realized when we came in and started working with our economists is a lot of the deals that we were doing in the past were incentivizing companies that were paying less than what the median wage was in that community before. And that's not our jam here. We want people to be paid well. And so these are the sectors that we focus on. Aerospace, talked a little bit about that. Bioscience, like NTX Bio. Cybersecurity, we need to do more there, I'll be honest with you. Film and television, so I talked a little bit about the Netflix deal. We also now have NBC Universal here, and we're in talks with 2 other studios to move their facilities here. Global trade, which I'll get more into, intelligent manufacturing, outdoor recreation, sustainable and green energy, and sustainable and value-added agriculture. So, let's go on to this slide, yeah. So what we do a lot, here we go, okay. So global trade and FDI. There's a movement onshore and reshore into the United States. New Mexico is perfectly placed with our border in Mexico. We also have areas like Gallup. We are seeing a huge uptick in the amount of people that want to move their manufacturing back into the States. We have 3 Taiwanese manufacturing companies in our border region right now, and we just hired a contractor in Taipei to bring other companies from Taiwan here. The potential for our border region has just tripled since the pandemic. Asian factories have reopened and begun to ship goods to the port of Long Beach, and it's backed up with ships. Yesterday, I think I probably put my foot in it, but I asked Mark Lee to go ahead and take us to South Korea to introduce us to all the manufacturing companies there. So hopefully we'll do that. We are going to Taiwan with the governor, hopefully in 2022, in the beginning of 2022. So this is going to be a huge space for us, and we're going to put a lot of energy and effort into it. Film and television, like I said before, that's going gangbusters. The average salary is over $56,000 for film and television workers. And it's really our kids, this is what they want to go into. This is what they know. And, you know, I think in the future, we're not going to write our resume. We're probably going to put our resume on video. And it's an important skill for all of them to have. We're doing a lot of training. Like I said, we've got some other deals coming down the pipeline, so watch out for those. This is a great picture because it's the first owned Native American film studio, Camelback. This was a casino that they repurposed as a film studio, and Tom Hanks just shot a movie there in Camel Rock. So really excited about that. So in 2019, we added a 5% bump up to the incentive for rural areas to see if we could get some of the productions out there. I was against it. I was like, I don't think it's going to work. Well, it worked. So there's 27 new locations. These are those locations that film and television went out to. And then these are the locations on the next slide that, these are the productions that have been filmed in Gallup. And one of them, which is the Angelina Jolie film, Those Who Wish Me Dead, is opening this weekend. So if you guys want to go see some parts of Gallup, check out that movie. So looking into the future, we participated with Representative Lundstrom and her team on a roundtable discussing the potential for autonomous vehicles. And we just think it's huge. This is a futuristic industry. We love that you guys are focused on it. We are going to do everything we can to support it. Torque Robotics is located in Albuquerque, and it's partnering with Daimler Trucks. And they're going to be doing an autonomous vehicle test between here and Amarillo. So that's super exciting. The other thing that we're super excited about, especially for this region, is outdoor rec. So our division is just really kind of setting like these benchmarks nationally. It's run by Axie Navas, who used to be one of the editors of Outdoor Recreation magazine. And she's just a powerhouse, and she just gets things done. They created the Equity Fund, which is the first of its kind in the country. Their first grant went to Silver Stallions, which they started a mobile ride center where they go around the Navajo Nation and help people fix their bikes. And so there's actually, we have a quick video. Let's see if this works, Mark.
Hello, my name is Scott Knighton. I am the founder and executive director of Silver Stallion Bicycle Coffee Works based in Dallas, New Mexico. We're a small nonprofit providing job skills for bicycle mechanic repair, as well as specialty coffee services. Around all that, we're offering a number of different programs in youth development, as far as bicycle riding teams, and trying to create sort of a scene and an infrastructure for bicycles to become a viable piece of somebody's life. So where we're starting, working back from that, is realizing here in this region, there are certain blank spots, and one of the blank spots on the Navajo Nation is across 27,000 square miles. There's not a single bike shop. The absence of that and all the barriers that exist, the decision of whether or not kids can make a bike part of their life is sort of already decided for the most part. And what our goal is to do is to make that their decision. So to address that need and that gap, we came up with this idea of a mobile ride center. We pitched the idea of doing a COVID relief effort, of doing free mechanical repair to those who are in need, with bicycle shops being deemed as an essential service in the community. If it's essential service, it's a right, in a sense, to have. And if there's a systemic reason for these things not existing in places like the Navajo Nation, there needs to be a systems approach towards addressing that. And that's what the Outdoor Equity Fund provided us, is the heavy lift to make up for these gaps in the industry, to keep kids riding and keep adults riding.
My part was just to help manage it, to fix brakes and choose the rims. And he handled the rims, so I just handled the brakes. The whole ride center is a good thing. You know, I think giving back to the community throughout Navajo Nation, helping kids with the rides, and unfortunately this year with COVID, we couldn't really be hands-on with kids, but it's good to see that.
So we understand that all of these efforts to make up for the inequities in the outdoor rec industry, it's definitely a relational, local, eye-to-eye grassroots effort. We also know that there's these heavy lifts that need to happen. And without the state of New Mexico stepping in, we simply could not have done this lift in the time that it took place to get this repair done, these events happening this summer and fall.
Hopefully you were able to get at it. If not, it's on our website. But it's really like one of like the greatest things that, kids is going to work every day. So another thing that's happening with outdoor rec is the other day I was driving the Pecos and all these cars were on the interstate. And I asked my friend, I was like, why aren't these cars there? And he said, well, that's where they mountain bike. And I said, well, the Pecos is just like literally 5 miles away. Like, what if we could get all of these people to park in the Pecos instead of on the freeway, and then they would go to restaurants on Main Street? So out of that came the idea for our outdoor recreation division to work with our Main Street division and really kind of like do an asset analysis, an atlas for 5 counties. And we chose McKinley as one of those counties because we really feel like outdoor rec could be big here. And the idea is, how do we get Main Street, how do we get people to come to Main Street, have some lunch, grab their mountain bike, and use a company that's right here on Main Street to get them out into the hills, biking or hiking or doing whatever. So that's going to start this year. We're super, super excited about that. Okay, so really, just wrapping up, we also have a weekly newsletter that goes out every Monday, and our finance director works on that, and she's done a fantastic job. So sign up for that. It has all of our recovery efforts. It has any deals that we've done. Our website is www.edd.newmexico.gov. And also what we did is we have this amazing deputy secretary named John Clark who came from the LFC. He worked a lot with Representative Lindstrom. And he's just really changed how we look at data in our division. And so he's been working with our economists, and they have a county report that goes out quarterly. And you can really look and see what's happening here. And you can look and see what's happening all over New Mexico. And that is a resource for everyone. So please do that. So just another thank you to Representative Luncheon, her team, for having us out. It's always great to meet the people and the companies that are working here. These are all of our contact information. And we're available, and we'd love to talk to you about anything. So thanks for having us.
Madam Secretary, we're so grateful that you've taken the time to be here with us today. We have a special presentation for you as a gift. Our mayor has a speaker's gift for you, and then we'll let him give any closing remarks he'd like to make there.
Thank you, Tommy. Yesterday was an interesting day for me. We had a water line breaking back to my business, and we had a number of problems, so I couldn't make a luncheon yesterday. And so I'm busy, working at whatever I do, and all of a sudden here comes this girl Nellie and Alicia into my business. Well, that takes me by total surprise. I'll tell you what, it made my day, though. It was quite exciting. I did have a chance to show her my business, which I'm quite proud of, and my son is quite proud of, but I don't know about the rest of the world, for that matter. Anyway, being that you came down, and I got to thinking, I should be able to get her a gift that you'd remember Gallup. And I did. I got this one here. This is a pair of moccasins.
Oh, goodness.
And I had to guess at the size.
Do you know what? 9 and 9. Perfect.
Okay, well,
shoes.
after 50 years of, you can kind of generalize the looks and, well, I know what size he was.
These are gorgeous.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
We thank you for coming. Oh, and one other thing that I wanted to put in here, it's a little pin. And this pin is a pin of a horny toad. Okay, horny toads to the Native American basically is a sign of good luck.
Oh, wow. Oh,
And I've got you this, but I also want to make it for you. It's made in
New
Mexico.
Mexico, true. I love it. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Thank
I get the job of welcoming speeches. Closing remarks is kind of new to me. How do you talk about something and try to encourage you to be here, which he's already been here? But we do thank you. I can say that for everyone here. We thank you for being here. And hopefully you leave with a warm spot in your heart and you decide to come back to Gallup many times if at all possible, for sure. We are proud of Gallup. I mean, there's so much things about Gallup that is so unusual about any other community. I mean, one thing that probably nobody's ever told you, that Gallup is one of the only cities in the nation that the Second World War refused to let the Japanese families that lived here be interned.
Wow.
And I think that goes to show basically that we're a multicultural community. There is just as many Slavs, Italians, Mexicans, Japanese. They're all here at Gallup, and we're a process of assimilation. I mean, we grew up together. We didn't really know the difference in nationalities at all, other than at home we ate spaghetti every Sunday. I mean, besides that, anyway, thank you for coming very much. I would like to thank Patty. Patty does an exceptionally good job for Gallup. I've known her for years. Okay, I was going to put a number on it. But it's been said about Patty a number of times. If she can't do it, it can't be done. And with that being said, I mean, we are proud of her. But again, thank you very much for coming to Gallup. And what you pointed out, I mean, I am excited. This is an exciting day for me. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm excited about the future. A year ago, in fact, it was 1 year ago, I took office, and the first call I had at 8:30 in the morning was from the governor, congratulating me for being elected mayor. And then on the other hand, she says, my condolences. the state police are on their way over to shut your city down. We had the worst statistics in the world. I mean, we were averaging 100 people a day with the virus. Well, I can honestly say Gallup is resilient because in the past few weeks, we've surpassed the rest of the state. We've had more vaccinations than anybody else. We're up to close to 80% vaccination in Gallup. But they did it. Being the worst in the nation to where we're at now, we're quite proud of it. And again, thank you for coming here.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thanks, Mayor. Well, there was an opportunity for questions and answers, but I think we're a small enough group if you want to mingle and talk about those questions and things like that, and those that need to get back to work or other things, you can do that. But you're welcome to stay here as long as you need, and we're again, thank each and every one of you for coming today, for supporting the efforts as we try to bring attention to the important work that we try to do with the Greater Gallup Economic Development. Thanks again to our keynote speaker with Secretary Keys. Again, we welcome Wiley to our community. We've got some of you that are from out and that are here. This is just a testament to what we try to do to continue to build and grow and retain. And so again, congratulations to McKinley Paper for your recognition today as well. Thank you all for coming and have a great afternoon.
I'm gonna try not to this right now.
Good deal.